everyone. Welcome back to the Anytime Anywhere podcast, where you're liable to hear anything at any given time with me. I'm your host, Jaleesa'Kayla, and today is September 9th, 2025. How many of y'all knew that today was the 999 portal? How many of y'all even like believe in that? Because I don't know. I would assume that that's um a part of astrology, right? When we pay attention to like planetary alignments and different portals, when it comes to days and years and cycles and transitions and transformation and all of that stuff. I knew that it was coming up, but I just wasn't really paying attention. Like I've been doing a lot, especially over the weekends. So my focus has been elsewhere. Still spiritual work, but like we're still in the energy of full moon in Pisces. And then we got 999 portal today. I believe the energy for the full moon is over tomorrow because it's always 3 days before and 3 days after. And the full moon was actually this past Sunday, which was September 7th. So yeah, 3 days after leads us to tomorrow, which is the 10th. But today is the 999 portal, and I'm just like, yo, like, can we get a break? Why is this light taking forever? Y'all, so right now I am in Quakertown. Many of you may or may not know where that is. I don't even know where that is. I'm just here. No, but yeah, today being the 999 portal, and still within the energy of the full moon, I've been doing a lot of self reflecting, right? But something that just came to my mind was that we talk a lot about being on a spiritual journey, at least those within, how can I say, I don't even want to make it a thing, but I guess those who self-proclaim to have gone on or who are currently in their on their spiritual journey, who have taken a spiritual journey, who have made transitions and has transformed based on their spiritual journey. um I like to say I was just thrown into it, like I was kind of forced into it. Now there's things that I have sought out on my own. However, like I didn't choose this for myself. Like I tried to be religious. I didn't really grow up religious per se, but religion was around me. There was several religions being practiced around me. But when it came to like my immediate family, we just knew that okay, this is what the matriarchs of my family studied. They didn't really push it on you, but they more so led by example, and I guess you were free to choose, however they still gonna question you. Like although you're free to choose what you want when you get older, they're still gonna question you. And I realized that at a certain point I had like denounced Christ, Jesus, like because I was coming up on different findings. 77 on the back of this car, I was coming up, and I believe 788 too, but it started with 7 is like the number of, right, spirituality, right, intuition, enlightenment, things of that nature, right. 44 right there. So I'm hoping that means I'm stable and secure in what it is that I'm saying right here. Cause I don't go around making it seem like I know everything there is to know, and I'm like so well versed in this shit. Like honestly, y'all, I cursed early on, but excuse me, YouTube. Um, I'm not. I'm not gonna say I'm not well versed in it. However, listen, I just do what makes sense, and the information that sticks and that's retained, I trust and believe is the information that's supposed to stay with me, because there's so much information out there, right? Like going back to being pushed into the spiritual journey 22, I feel like after a certain point in time, like a few years back, when I really like my life started taking more turns, and I kind of felt like I had to choose between this one road and another road. And the one road was like more so like worldly, still doing the things that I was doing, being around certain people, the same cycles when it came to relationships, the same cycles when it came to how I thought about money, how I thought about myself, how I thought about my family, how I thought about everything, really, right? This is horrible. Like, why would they allow this road to be like this when they know I'm recording a podcast? That's my new favorite thing. Like, I love that because it's just like, girl, who records a podcast when they're like in traffic and there's noise around and stuff like that? You supposed to be showing up with surround sound, padded room, quiet, the crispest mic. But no, because then this wouldn't be the Anytime Anywhere podcast. But yeah, like a lot of things on this road were the constant, and it was like how I had been living my life thus far, and it was just like, okay, do you want to keep going on this way? Because I felt like this pull, not only like physically, but I felt a pull spiritually, which was like, yeah, no, you gotta go down here. I know they going down there, but it's like your parent. I told you to go this way. I don't care what A, B, C, and D is doing. I don't care what D is doing. D and them is doing. They went that way. I'm telling you to go this way. Now, while I'm telling you to go this way, you still have the option to go that way if you choose to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still go that way, but don't say that this way wasn't revealed to you, available to you, like, just don't. Because I've allowed a lot of things in your life to happen and to transpire to prepare you to go down this way, y'all. Like, and I wanted to go that way so bad because taking the route that I'm on currently, like, clearly I made a decision. If I didn't make the decision, I probably wouldn't be talking to y'all right now. Like, even back then, I want to say, like, okay, 2020, we just gonna start with 2020 and beyond. But more so, like, I've always been someone, like I said, and I've said this before, who's been into um, journalism, interviewing, talking to people, understanding people, right? And whether that's just in person, privately, between me and said person or people, or on a platform like this, YouTube, or what's the other? Y'all know it starts with P. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But anywhere, really, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be Instagram, it could be TikTok, it could be anywhere that hosts conversation, that hosts think pieces, that hosts, just individuals talking about their experiences and stuff like that. Like, it could have been anywhere. I've always been someone who was into that type of um, expression. However, with the height of social media and stuff like that, and I feel like around 2020, I know it was before as well as after, of course, clearly we're here, but I feel like podcasts reached their height during like 2020. A lot of people were out of work. A lot of people wanted others to talk to relate to. A lot of people were sitting at home. They needed an outlet, They needed tribe. They needed community. And what better way if I can't see you or get to you in person than through podcasting, Zoom calls. What's that thing? What the fuck was that thing called? That app where people would get on and you had different people from different walks of life. Clubhouse, yes. Oh my goodness. People people just wanted to chat. Some for good and some just to, just chat, just to get it out. I had always been into podcasting and talking and, getting to the bottom of things and having healthy conversations surrounding around life, surrounding around experiences, whether it was with my friends. I've tried I tried it with no, I'm not gonna say that yet because that might still be a thing. I'm gonna hold off on that. But I've tried it with friends and family, and it went well. I just didn't put it out. And for whatever reason, I was just like, I don't know, I wasn't 100% sure. And a part of it also was because I wasn't living in my truth. Like, I want to say I was living in my truth. It was like a 60-40. It was a 60-40. And the reason why I say it was 60-40, 60 me not living in my truth, 40 me living in my truth, was because um there was still so much that I had to learn. There was still so much I hadn't been introduced to yet that I would soon be introduced to, but it wasn't until after I made the choice to take, a different path than what I had been on. So when I say I probably wouldn't be talking to y'all right now had I stayed on that path, because I wasn't living in my truth. I was trying to coddle a lot of feelings. I was um doing a lot of masking. I was muffling my own voice. I was muffling my true experiences, you know what I'm saying, to um fit in, or at least try to, but I never really did. Never really fit in. Like, I can be a chameleon, I can blend in and I can do my thing. However, not for long periods of time. Not for a lifetime. Like, no, I can't do that for a lifetime. And I thought I could. I thought I was. And to give myself some credit also, we can become so conditioned with how we've been taught to live life and what we've taught is important in life, that at some points I didn't think I was living a lie. I thought I was doing damn good. You know what I'm saying? Like, just keeping up and doing what society says is best, and not rocking the boat of too many people and not going against too many systems. Keeping it low. Not making a block hot. And even when I would do that, I was still met with resistance. I still had some people, not everyone, but I still had some people who would clock the tea. They was clocking my tea. Some people would tell me, like, you want to do so much more. Why you not doing it? Or you have those people who saw my light before I did, and they would try to get to me before I even had a thought of pivoting, doing something different. You know what I'm saying? Stepping outside the box, um, and answering to what my soul was calling for. So I would be like on the fence, one foot in, one foot out, one foot in, one foot out. And with the 9-9 portal, something that I learned that is significant for this portal, this time, this day, is releasing. Releasing no longer what is necessary, or releasing what no longer aligns. You know what I'm saying? If you want more, you need more, death has to come to certain things. Death has to come to the beliefs that um you've carried for so long, and the ones you picked up on your own, as well as the ones that were placed upon you and you just adopted it. If you want to change, if you want to transform and transcend, that's what has to happen. And for a long time, like, I was scared of the thought of death in every sense, but we typically only think about death as being something negative, someone transitioning and it being a sad thing. However, when I decided to take the the opposite road, death came upon a lot of relationships. Death came upon a lot of the beliefs that I had about what I knew the world to be, about who I knew myself to be. And that shit is not, I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like it's easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm still to this day processing certain ideals. I'm still processing what the beginning of that journey was for me and how it was for me, and how things have changed since then. It's like, has it gotten greater? Has it not? What realizations have you had? How has your life improved? And one thing I can say is that my thoughts around death have, like, experiencing death, losing loved ones, as well as witnessing someone's death, is just like death is necessary. Okay. Not always in the physical sense. I'm not talking about that. Death is necessary when it comes to your spiritual journey, because things have to die off, in order to renew. Different parts of me had to die off, and I had to be willing to let it go in order to transition, in order for the changes that were promised with taking this journey. I had to make room for them to flourish and be. Can't have it all together. Like, I can't, still be dealing with the same people who, one, not only don't understand, but who don't agree. You know what I'm saying? If I have to not do this certain thing anymore, case in point, say you living with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. With us ladies, like, at least for me, when I'm dating a guy, unless he just has poor taste in music, which is kind of a turn off. I haven't really dated too many guys who didn't have good taste in music. That's a plus in my book, because I enjoy music of all kinds. So if you could put me onto some music, then that's a plus in my book. So, case in point, this wasn't me, but I'm just, giving this example. Say you're living with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and one of y'all favorite pastimes and things y'all like to do is listen to, rap or R&B early in the morning. That helps y'all get y'all day started. Alarm might go off. Ladies, you might not have to go to work, but you gotta make sure you see your boyfriend out or your husband out, or your little fling thing, whatever. No judgment. You're one of those women who get up when they get up, and help see them out. And for the fellas, you might be somebody who, like I said, to get your day started, you hop in the shower, but before you hop in the shower, you turn on, your mix that gets you, right for the morning. It doesn't have to be rap, but it can still be some type of secular music or some type of music that will influence your day, and you don't even realize how it's influencing your day, especially with words. You know what I'm saying? Frequencies is one thing within the music, but words is a whole nother topic. So you getting your day started, or you might wait until you get into the car, but we just gonna stick with the first one. Y'all wake up. He turn on his rap music. 333 on the back of his car. He turned on his rap music as loud as blasting. You jigging. Because his favorite songs have become your favorite songs now. Mind you, but it's 6:30 in the AM. And this is not for everyone. And it's just a simple example. This is not like the end all be all when it comes to spirituality, but more so about your wellness, because they always say what you take in is important, not just what you eat or what you listen to, what you put on your body, what you put in your body, what you put in your mind. Those rap songs, those lyrics are going in your mind. You've only been able to, maybe, ladies, get up and brush your teeth, use the restroom, wash your face, and then you right downstairs either fixing his lunch or completing his lunch, maybe putting on a little breakfast or something, making a smoothie or whatever the case may be. However y'all give it up for y'all man, whatever he likes in the AM. That's what you're downstairs doing. Mind you, it's 6:30, but rap music is blasting. And you singing along, and it's fuck that. Had a fucked up day. What can I say? Blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't know. But the lyrics, although this may be your shit, the lyrics is just not. It's not it. And on a small scale, you taking the road less traveled, you confide in your man and say one day, babe, I've been thinking, I want to switch up listening to rap music in the morning. Like when you get up and you're getting ready for work and you turn on our shit. Jeezy. Oh, we love a good Jeezy song. I still love Jeezy. I still think you have great taste in music. However, I've just been wanting to try something different. Like, maybe not play rap music early in the morning. Like, I don't want to listen to any rap music before 12 noon. Same instance where you see all these different people on social media telling you, like, hey, it's probably best if you don't pick up your phone as soon as you roll over when you open your eyes in the morning. Have a conversation with the Most High. Have a conversation with the Creator. Have a conversation with God. Have a conversation with your ancestors. 22. Have a conversation with yourself. Just say thank you before you roll over to check your phone, to check Instagram, or to check your messages. Before you tap in with the world, tap in with yourself. And you'll have people like, yeah, I hear it, but fuck it. Like, I'm too inclined to the shit, and I really don't see the need to change it. What is waiting a few hours or at least a half an hour going to do? Like, no, I'm good. I need to check my shit. Same thing with telling your boyfriend, like, babe, like, I don't want to listen to any rap music before 12 noon. And then you go into explaining why. Well, I just feel like it'll be better for my mental. I'm starting to realize that for myself, to have better days and to be well and to have a clearer mind and to focus, that I don't want to really introduce that into my psyche until after a certain time. I've already started my day. I've drank my water. I've taken my vitamins and herbs. I've said my prayers. I've put other things that are important to me first before allowing the lyrics and the vibration, the frequencies of the music to enter my body and kind of dictate how I'm feeling. Some music does get us hype. Like I said, we love a good Jeezy, but I mean, babe, like, I'm not really selling bricks or anything like that. I wanna just have a peace of mind. I'm somebody who likes peace and quiet when I wake up. Now I know you love your rap music, but I was just thinking maybe we can try it. And if you don't want to, that's cool too. But I would like to know what you think about that and how we could go about us both, being fulfilled. Maybe you wait till I go downstairs and then you turn it on instead of turning it on before you get in the shower. Because how I go downstairs and make you, like your breakfast and make sure your lunch is together and stuff. Like, yeah, could you wait until then? Just so we can, compromise. And he's like, girl, you doing too much. Like, what? And just totally dismiss it, right? What do you do? Now, like I said, that's on a small scale. I'm not saying you should stop dating your partner because, they play rap music at 8 a.m. and you really don't believe in listening to music with cursing in it, or you don't believe in listening to certain types of lyrics before a certain time, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. That was just a little example, the best one I could give in a moment. But what's most important is the ideal behind it. You know what I'm saying? Just choosing things that you know are better for your wellness and being met with resistance. And how do you combat that? You know what I'm saying? And for me, I couldn't fight it. Like, it was certain cases where I tried to, but I was just like, yeah, the path that I'm going down, and I see what I'm being called to. I'm being stripped away from a lot of this stuff, and it doesn't make any sense for us to still be in contact or for us to still be in each other's lives, because while it's not making any sense to you, the changes that I'm going through, trust me, they're not fully making sense to me either. However, in this moment, this feels more promising than how I've been living life before. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm a saint. Not saying, listen, I'm about to turn on some K Camp as soon as I finish talking to y'all. But guess what? It's 3:13 p.m. Okay? So if he say something about some pussy or, whatever, getting lit, what's the new tagline the girl be saying in his new album? She be like, this shit got me floating. Like, yes, I love that. He got a lot of sexy ass songs on it, like Camp. However, like I said, I'm not, using rap music to start my morning, to get me throughout my day. And with change and going down certain paths come small changes where you don't even, or you do realize after some time, like, damn, what I thought was so small and so commonplace and just it was so normal for me to do those things and listen to that or be this way. It was so normal. Now that I don't do it anymore, or I'm doing it less, or I'm exposing myself to it less, it really has made a difference in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really have clearer thoughts. My thoughts are more of my own and less of what society says I should be, or what this rap song say I should be looking like as a female, or what type of dudes I should be allowing to court me. Like, it'd be a lot. And with the transformation, the portal is 999 portal. It's just a realization, like, death has to come to some shit, and it doesn't always mean that it's a negative. Death can just be, again, the same story you've been telling yourself. It has to end if you want new things to begin. If you want to make room for your true essence, if you want to make room for what's really in alignment with you, you have to bring death and alchemize even the karma that you built up. Like, I think I want to do a part 2 if I have the chance to, because I did this other spiritualist. She does tarot. She does so many different things. I watch her on YouTube. She calls her writings a free write. And what I interpret a free write to be is, like, not necessarily a journal prompt, because I also follow people. Like I said, I don't have a community of my own physically in my everyday community. So I outsource. There's different people that I follow, and I join their Discords and listen to their teachings via Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, excuse me. Yeah, actually, I do follow a few people on Instagram, but it's more so on YouTube, right? And you can learn the world from YouTube. But I follow them, and this one lady I mentioned her before, Queen Poe. She does, like, journal prompts, and she was a teacher. I love following women who either still currently or in one of their past lives were teachers, because they have a certain foundation that other spiritualists, and it's not to take anything from anyone, but the way that they deliver the information, some of them, not all teachers, because even in school, every teacher didn't teach, or you weren't able to grasp the teachings of every teacher. Some teachers just really knew how to break topics down really well to where you could understand. They didn't make things complicated, and they gave you sources to cite and to further explore. If you didn't get everything there was to get within the lesson. Okay, let me just say that. But she does journal prompts, and she's coming from a teacher background, so it's very structured, easy to follow. It makes you think. You have to think critically, and you have to also think spiritually, okay, about your spiritual journey, where your life is, where it was, what a lot of things mean, okay. But this wasn't a journal prompt. This was more of like a download. Like, okay, I'm thinking about the 999 portal. I'm listening to, while I'm getting dressed, I'm listening to the themes that come with today and the energy that's surrounding the collective, and how we can utilize the energy for our wellness, you know, to help and better assist us versus going against the grain. And that's something that I use astrology for too. Like, okay, if I'm here, I agree to be here in this realm. Instead of going against the grain, how do I flow with the grain, with proper alignment, with pleasing the Most High? How do I go with the flow of things so that I'm not going against the energy and making my journey and my existence 100 times harder? Which I will say also, with being on the old path that I was on, I was met with that a lot. Like, both paths you're gonna face challenges. However, what I realized is putting death to a lot of old ideals and beliefs and how I was living my life allowed me the freedom to like really go with the flow of the collective, of the different alignments, planetary alignments and stuff that we were in for my betterment. Like, if on a small scale, and I know I'm jumping from thing to thing, but this is, my mind is just here, there. Um, Damn, what was I going to say? I don't know, but anyway, let me get back on track. So I do journal prompts. However, this wasn't a journal prompt. This other tarot lady that I listen to, she does a lot of like free writing, and she introduced the thought to me, like, instead of like having a prompt to answer and to think about, you kind of just allow the thoughts that come to your mind to flow onto the paper. And a lot of times it'll all come together. It'll make sense. It may not make sense to you while you're thinking it through and while you're writing it, but in totality, like, it makes sense. And today, one of the themes for this 999 portal was like, think about where you were um, in the last 999 portal, and that was 2016. Listen, so much stuff came up, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to write and let it flow, and really think about the themes. A lot of themes were like passed over loved ones and what that means, endings to a lot of things and what that means, transformations and what that means. So for me, I was able to write down so much, y'all. Like, you wouldn't believe. I couldn't believe how much I was writing down and how it was just flowing. And I felt so good to have that release and to bring awareness to some chaos that I was still carrying over, that I hadn't fully alchemized. Karma, shit. Even I had a dream last night about someone, and I was just like, why do I keep having this dream? But another theme that is prevalent and known during this time, not just for the 999 portal, but also for the full moon and Pisces energy, is like the veil being thin. So what that means is like the how can I say, the space between where we are here in the physical realm and the spiritual realm, like, it's like right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can tap in so easily if you choose to, and if you have the capability to do so, which I feel like most of us do. Unless you're like that three-letter acronym that people don't like to say now, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to make nobody feel no type of way, because maybe somebody called you it before. Maybe you weren't acting how the average human is supposed to act according to society. So someone probably called you the C word. Um, but yeah, you're able to tap into the spirit realm easier. You may be having a lot of dreams, or when you meditate, like the veil is thin. So if you had a gang of, maybe relatives that have passed over, and you wanted to tap in with them, like, it would be much easier to do so during this time. And for me, I had a dream about somebody, and I was just like, yo, why do you keep having this dream about this person? Or not this dream, because the dreams are always different. However, it's like, why is their energy still, with you so heavy? And when I look back, it wasn't in 2016. However, just being in a relation with that person was one of the main, like, relationships that I had to let go if I wanted to transcend and transform. And me taking the path less traveled, at least in my proximity, I don't really know anybody who, like, took the path of choosing their soul and, their spirit over worldly things. Um, I didn't really know anyone who was doing it at that time. And the people that were, it was kind of like, I don't want to take full credit. I'm not going to say I fully introduced them into it. However, it would have come off more so like the blind leading the blind. And I knew I had to go within self and allow the Most High to guide me. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that there's anything wrong with men, because look, y'all listen to me right now, 66, but at that time it was just like, yeah, even we aren't in alignment. Your spiritual journey is looking different from mine, and I just have to answer this call and go this way. I know it doesn't make any sense to you. I have to go this way, and it's looking like me going this way means that this has to end. And it was kind of like being saved by the bell, because I already knew that certain shit, like, it just didn't make any sense. However, I was trying to stick it out and be patient and make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? While still practicing and answering to what I was called to. And I was just like, oh, this is not making sense. Like, Spirit is telling me I gotta clip this, period, like, all the way. And something else that came up as to why this person had been heavy on my heart and my spirit, and even with me releasing them and doing cord cut. Listen, I did cord cuts, I did all types of shit. Something that came up that made me go, was the idea that maybe, just maybe, it has seemed like a challenge to fully release this person no matter what you do, because based on how you grew up, based on how you knew how to garner relationships and be in relation to people and things of that nature, like, this person was as close to what you thought true love to be thus far. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying now, but during those times, like, when we were in relation, that was the closest to, home I had felt. And home being self, you know what I'm saying? Home being my relationship to the Most High. home feeling that kind of love. No love trumps that, you know what I'm saying? So, although it felt really, really good, and I just knew that it was the end for me, it wasn't. And the creator was trying to show me, like, girl, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Drop that 000 and get with a hero, okay? No, he's not a zero, but you know what I'm saying. Like, listen, it was tough. And another thing that came up also was, and I'm, still finding my way through this, was that so much had been stripped away from me that I leaned so heavy into the spiritual journey and shadow work and, what comes with being spiritual and not conforming to religion, but understanding different parts and taking the meat and leaving the bones of what makes sense and what doesn't when it comes to different practices and things of that nature. Being on this spiritual journey started to, or not started to, it had started and then eventually became my identity. Like, and I can see it with a lot of people, and just trying to find your place even within that. It's like, okay, it's not all love and light. I can still like A, B, and C. However, it does have to be with reason, and I don't have to try to shove spirituality down everybody's throat. You know what I'm saying? But I had started to feel a sense of freedom. I had started to feel so good with the work that I was doing, with the things that I was uncovering, with the realizations that I was coming to, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if only, not just myself, but people within my family, my ancestors that perished without this knowledge. If only they had been introduced to this, if only they were aware of, this journey, if only they had been aware of this information, then, you know, maybe things could have looked a lot different. Matter of fact, I know they would have. However, I think those were the higher parts of me. Well, it's like half and half. Half of it was flesh. My flesh felt guilty for knowing so much and being called to such. And I felt like if I was called to it and I could do it, then so the sure as hell can y'all. You know what I'm saying? So there was this excitement there and thinking that we were all made the same. And then my spiritual side was like, uh, like I said, love and light, everyone. Love and light, love and light. You see me, yes, I've changed. And it's not like I was throwing it in people's face, and it's not like it was fake. I just hadn't been fully met with the shadows, all the shadows. I had been met with some shadows. But I had been met with more shadows that would like break me down again. Like it was like build you up, break you down, build you like that. While break with that Wale song. Like build me up, break me down, make me smile, make me frown. I think that's how it goes. I'm sure I messed up the words, but basically it's just a cycle of the ups and downs, ebbs and flows. And I'm thinking like, okay, once I complete that, part of the journey and I learn that and I do the shadow work there, like we good. We in there like somewhere. Through there like booty here, like we in there. No. Here comes something else. And then when we done with that, here comes something else. Oh, and while you're doing that, you also need to figure this out. And like, listen, I will reach plateaus and high highs just to be knocked down again, like the stock market. And wait to come to realizations and learn and, build myself back up again. But it had become part of my identity to where it was like, oh my gosh, without spirituality, what am I? And if you're not on this path, then I can't be, around you or dealing with you. Now, I will say, to extent that is still true. Like, if you're privy to certain information and you're just choosing again to, you just chose to take the other path, then I respect it. However, I've done too much work and I've committed myself to the Most High to the point where I cannot go back and forth with you. Like, I can never, and I won't, and ever will I choose or make the choice hard between the path that I've been called to and doing anything outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Or allowing anything outside of that to um, create chaos or blur my vision or to come in between what has already been built and what's, to come. It's just like us ladies, you know how this is not shit. Like, even before all of this, like, you be dating a guy and this is another part of the reason why I had to let the person go that I let go. It's just like, if you're ever stuck in between choosing me and somebody else, please choose them. Because one, why is there even, now it's not to say, like they tell us ladies, date them all. No one has committed to you, so date them all. However, in a situation where someone has sought you out, why, if you sought me out, I'm thinking that, I'm an official girl. I'm the one that you want. You know what I'm saying? And I'm over here being, patient. Why? I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. But I'm over here being patient and yeah, like, it's not looking like, what? I would never do that now. Like, never do that now. I've gone through too much and learned too much. Like, y'all just doing way too much. These people driving like they ain't got no sense. But yeah, like, choose them. Because one, why am I in competition with someone for a spot that I didn't even know I had to be in competition to be in? One. And two, yeah, just choose them. Just choose them. Better yet, choose yourself. Choose what, your soul says. Choose what's best for you, babe. And I'm going to choose what's best for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same way. Like, if I'm ever put in a position where there's a thing, I got to choose between someone, something, or my enlightenment and my holistic well-being and all that. Like, you should know off top that I'm choosing me. I know I haven't always done so, and everybody won't understand, especially the people who watched you grow. They've been in your life. They won't understand however they have to respect it. And if they don't, that's cool too. Get out of Dodge, get from around them. You can always grow in the same places that tried to bury you. So death has to come to that, So yeah, death had to come to the idea that, this spirituality was like all there was to me. Like, no, you were somebody before this and you'll be somebody during this and after, you're experiencing this. However, that doesn't mean, like, you have to just make it be, you're a part of it. You don't have to make it be all that you are. You embody it more than you talk about it. You be it, and it'll naturally come out in your conversation. It'll naturally show in how you carry yourself. It'll naturally show based on your values and your morals and things of that nature. So I had to learn it too. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that I've already been on here 30 minutes. Like, damn. But thank y'all for tuning in to the welcome. What? Thank you for tuning in Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you feel moved to, as well as leave a comment. What's something you know about the 999 portal? What's something you didn't know that you learned? Um, and what's something that you'll be bringing death to that you know just doesn't